Colorado has passed 4 gun control measures on Monday. 4. Now, the Colorado House of Representatives, of course, is controlled by Democrats. The vote was along party lines. Not a single Republican supported any of these gun control bills. All 4 were passed by voice vote on Friday and then were approved by a final recorded vote after a third reading of these bills yesterday. Representative Rhonda Fields told the House, according to a statement from House Democrats, quote, "We can no longer walk around in our society with these blinders on as if nothing is happening." She lost a son to gun violence, and her district includes the Aurora movie theater where 12 were killed last July. Now, the bills passed by the House still have to go before the Democratic-controlled Senate, where I'm reasonably sure it will pass. The bills require background checks for all gun purchases, and if you're applying to buy a gun, you have to pay for that. A ban on ammunition magazines with more than 15 rounds. A measure to allow colleges in the state of Colorado to ban concealed weapons on campus. The governor of Colorado is a Democrat, John Hickenlooper. He has said he supported the magazine limits and universal background check measures, but was undecided on the college campus ban. Really, Governor? You're having a hard time trying to decide if you want to keep guns off of college campuses? What's the hang-up, Mr. Hickenlooper? Seriously, what's the hang-up? You're undecided? Have anything to do with NRA cash to get you reelected? You're a Democrat, for God's sake. Are you going to align yourself with the zombie party, the death party, the murder party? Come on, Governor. During the debate last week, the House Republican leader, Mark Waller, characterized these bills as, quote, a knee-jerk reaction. Why don't you sons of bitches on the right ever come up with any new cliches? I mean, why do you have to use the ones that are just set everybody else's teeth on edge over and over again? Knee-jerk reaction. Knee-jerk. What the hell does that mean? Does that have something to do like when you go to a doctor and they hit you with a little hammer, oing, and your leg jumps? Is that what you mean? Knee-jerk. Why do they always use the same little cliches? Anyway, I digress. The House Republican leader, Mark Waller, characterized the bills as knee-jerk reaction to the massacres in Connecticut and Aurora. Well, let's not have any of that. Oh, my God, let's not have any knee-jerk reactions to bloody murder of 20 little 6-year-olds and 16 people in a theater. No. Let's not have any of that. Knee-jerk. Now let's think this through. Okay, 12 in the theater. Madness. A knee-jerk reaction to the massacres in Connecticut and Aurora. Passing laws that require background checks, that limit the size of the magazines that can have the ammunition, no more than 15 rounds. You can kill Bambi with less than 15. And the mom who's being invaded, you know, like the gun nut freak said, the woman, what was her name, Kathy? You remember that freak who testified? Yeah, Gail. Anyway, when she said, well, you know, a woman needs a magazine with all kinds of bullets in it because, you know, the kids are screaming and the predators, 4, 5, 12 of them are coming through the front door. Our little unprotected housewife needs to open fire, hold that trigger down, or just squeeze it over and over again. Don't want to run out of ammunition. Sick, sick, sick. Now, besides Aurora, of course, we had Columbine in Colorado, where a teacher and 12 students were butchered before the two killers committed suicide. And these filthy, stinking cockroach Republicans in the Colorado House say, well, this is just a knee-jerk reaction. The bills were read 4 times. The bills were voted on by voice vote and then voted on by recorded vote. But it's just a knee-jerk reaction. I hate right-wingers so much that I don't want to see anything bad happen to them. I just want them all to go away. I'd like to live part of my life, I really would, without ever having to hear these scum talk, without ever having to see their faces on television, without ever having them have any influence whatsoever in the governance of this country. I would like all the right-wingers to get the hell out of my face, get out of my life, get out of my kids' lives, get out of my women friends' lives, my men friends' lives, get out of my life, get out of everything. You stinking rat bastards, go away! You don't belong here. We don't want you. Okay, so we'll have to wait until the millennial generation, the tail end of the Generation X, until they come to power and kick these vermin to the curb. I would love to get through a day without hearing this rancid John McCain or this stinking Paul Ryan or this filthy little roach that has now emerged from Texas, Ted Cruz. I'd like to go through 1 week being able to turn on AM radio and not hear the bleating of this overweight, drug-addled freak Rush Limbaugh, or this little pretty boy Sean Hannity, who now has a great interest in Ted Cruz. I'm not talking about sex. I'm talking about Hannity is a hanger-on. He's like a lamprey. He has no original ideas, no thoughts, nothing, except what he sucks up through his memos from the RNC. And I'm sure that Ted Cruz now, being such a ballsy bastard, oh, Hannity loves that. And then, of course, you have this recluse, this worm in the apple, Glenn Beck, the white worm who just sits back there. Did you see that movie Labyrinth? Anybody see the movie? Remember the creature that sat at the full table? Pan's Labyrinth? The creature that sat there, and the little girl had to go into the labyrinth, and what did she have to get, Kathy? The setting was the Spanish Civil War, and it was a horrific movie. If you saw this movie, you're still having nightmares about it. But she went into Pan's Labyrinth, and there was a huge table, and she was warned. The creature, what was the creature? Pan warned her when she went into the labyrinth, not, even though she was hungry, not to touch, not to eat any of the food, because if she did, it would awaken this creature sitting at the head of the table. She got into the labyrinth and finally found this room where it was a table set with the most delicious looking food you could imagine. All sorts of roasted animals and fruit and vegetables and everything glistening and shiny and pretty. And she got what she came after. And the creature sitting at the head of the table, do you remember that thing? It had no face. It had a mouth, no face, and 2 nose holes, no eyes. And it was sitting there with its hands on the table. And as the little girl was leaving, she grabbed a couple of the grapes, a couple of Concord, they were red grapes that looked just delicious, and picked them up and popped them in her mouth. And this creature woke up. And it stood up, and it had the most vile body. And on the tips of its fingers were its eyes. His hand, was it the hands? In the palms of his hands were the eyes. That is Glenn Beck. And this thing came after the little girl. with stuff coming out of its mouth and its cape and its robe kind of rustling and holding up the hands with the eyeballs. I swear to God, that is Glenn Beck. We'll be right back.